like to call to order Monday, October 5th, Richmond City School Board meeting. Madam Clerk.
The board members who are present, please respond. Mr. Sturman?
Here.
Ms. Gray? Here. Mr. Moore? Mrs. Taylor? Mrs. Harris Muhammad? Dr. Jones?
Here.
Mrs. McNair? Here. Mrs. Larson? Here. Mr. Coleman?
Here.
Mr. Chairman? I have two amendments to the agenda, Mr. Chair. The first amendment is to defer item 3.01, which is to receive presentation on the RPS Life Program, and the second is to add legal to close.
Motion.
So moved.
Second.
The motion was made by Ms. Larson and seconded by Dr. Jones. All in favor to amend the agenda? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? The agenda has been amended. Your next item is item 2, public information, 2.01. I have two speakers who signed up in advance. What is your pleasure, Mr. Chair?
3 minutes for individuals, 5 minutes for the representative.
Please come forward as your name is called, and state your name again for the record. David Bates.
Here, trustee. How you doing? Hello everyone, my name is David Bates. I'm a junior at Rifle High School, and I'm also a member of the Watch Street. Watch Street is a youth volunteer program of the Virginia Foundation for Healthy Youth that focuses on promoting healthy livings in Virginia. That's where the 24/7 campaign comes in, helping Virginia schools be tobacco-free 24 hours a day and 7 days a week. We are starting by working for 100% comprehensive tobacco-free school policy. 4 things that a 100% comprehensive tobacco school policy must have is detailed in the following information shown in the folder. I have provided in your folders. The main idea is that tobacco products or electronic cigarettes are not being used by anyone, including staff or visitors, anywhere, including off-site school events at any time. We have been meeting with principals and school divisions all around Virginia to gain their support for our campaign and help them update and enforce their existing tobacco policies. I'm here today to congratulate and thank Richmond school divisions by only being one of only 20 divisions in Virginia that already has 100% comprehensive tobacco-free policy. To show our appreciation and support for your division's efforts to keep schools tobacco-free, we would like to offer you a few things. First, I would like to provide free tobacco-free signage for your school divisions. This is an example of one. Knowing the importance of keeping your school 100% tobacco-free, you can never have too much signage. This signage will help fill any loopholes where your current signage may not cover, including main doors, cafeterias, and football stadiums. Second, I would like to offer a free tobacco-free toolkit to all the school divisions. A copy of this toolkit has been provided to the board chair. This toolkit includes several resources that your schools can use to strengthen the communication and enforcement of your tobacco policy. Finally, I would like to invite schools in your division to participate in a statewide day of appreciation for 100% tobacco-free divisions in Virginia on November 18th. The first ever 24/7 tobacco-free spirit day is an opportunity for schools to show their schools free school pride and to earn positive publicity. I have included more information about the tobacco-free spirit day in your folders, including information how to sign up. I would like to happily discuss how to get your free signage and how to sign up on this appreciation here from me. On behalf of White Street, I'd like to thank you for helping keep Richmond School Division a healthy and 100% tobacco-free for taking, and also for taking the time to speak with me. Thank you.
Let the record reflect we've been joined by Mrs. Taylor. Kenneth Williams. Kenneth Williams.
Good evening. I'm just getting here anything I can call this quick. But I'm here on behalf of the adult fraternity program. Most of you, I'm nervous, I don't know why. We were just invited to the Washington D.C. by the Congressional Black Caucus. And I just got to speaking in front of hundreds of people. Where this nervousness coming from. But we are a local reentry program primarily. And what we do, we teach skill sets to men and women with felony convictions. We assist them once the program just edges in to attain a Class C contractor's license. And that's our primary focus. And we also have a program that caters to youth, at-risk youth between the ages of 18 and 25. And that's being in line with the President's initiative, My Brother's Keeper. Now, this program started back in 2012. By we were initiated by Mayor Jones, and we spent 3 years in the Office of Minority Business Development, developing our infrastructure. So we're at the point now where we have over 200, we had 244 men and women registered. To date, we have 230 something, and those that are not registered now are homicide victims. So what we're trying to stress is the importance of this program in this city. We've got recognition from everywhere but here. And we are developed here, and we live here. And our children are raised here, went to school here. My grandkids, I have my grandson 2 weeks ago was shot over on Fayette Circle. He's still waiting to come to this program. He's a convicted felon, and he was shot 18 times. 18 times. But as a faith leader, we pray for our children and our grandchildren every day, and we ask that no weapons formed against them to prosper, and that's the evidence of God at work. But it's not just a program, but what we do, we develop the full person. We have the program is 3 phases. Phase 1 is character development. Our position is that nothing changes, nothing changes. So we go into, do I have God in my life? Pull your pants up, why is that important? How does our neck out? What is the computer, how is it used? Do I have any loved ones who are estranged that we need to make amends, so amend the family union? And our primary focus is to put the man, not transgender. We respect all religious, nationality, sexual preferences, but in this program, our focus is to get that man in his rightful position. You take a whale, I use the analogy, a whale is one of the powerful mammals in the ocean. But when you take him out, you put him in a forest and full of trees, and put him give him wings and teach him how to fly. But unless you put him back in the water, he will never be who he's supposed to be, because that is the nature in which God created him. So our focus is putting that man back in his rightful place, doing phase 1. Because once we do that, there's God intervention. And we can take our hands off him from a spiritual standpoint. So we go into the phase 2. We have 10 contractors who have volunteered. Initially it was 8, we have 10 now. Who have volunteered. They're coming in teaching the various trade skill sets, how to use tools, how to use them safely. Phase 3, Senator Marsh, on his way out office, submitted a bill to the Senate, Senate Bill number 68, which gives us houses, for little or nothing. To date, in the city attorney's office, we had 32 houses. We recently was awarded 2. And the purpose for this is to help us to be self-sustaining. It's sad to say, but it's reality. A lot of organizations, agencies, and people, don't want to see this program succeed simply because they're ex-offenders. But I too am elected offender. You know, today I'm a Class A contractor. I recently finished 10 jobs for Wells Fargo Bank. You know, previously you may have seen an article in the Free Press for free. I mean, he made me look like Al Capone, but it wasn't that bad. I had a little criminal element in my early my years, yeah. But I finished 10 banks, and I had to cut a hole in the wall at night. I had a key and the passcode, and we cut the hole, secured the hole for the next subcontractor to come in and install the ATM machine. You know, but I'm saying that to say that I came from that point. I mean, I came from the criminal element and being a convicted felon all the way up to going into a bank legally and getting paid to do it. You know, so I'm saying, so this is part of what we share, part of what I share. As a faith leader, you know, we're focusing on, like I said, the whole family. We have an upcoming meeting this month with Senator Kane, because we've been pushing this program so hard. You know, we've been
Time.
Excuse me.
Your closing thought.
Oh, my closing thought. My closing thought is that that the school board will be able to partner with this program. This presentation right here is the initial, and I'm hoping to be able to come back and do a full PowerPoint presentation, and I will bring some real citizens with me, you know, to share that story as well. But we're trying to get the occupied real school building over on Chamberlain in this area. The mayor's office is working with us, so when you see it come across your desk, know that we need you. Thank you.
Let the record reflect the joined by Mr. Boone, and that concludes the list of speakers who have signed up in advance.
Is there anyone else who would like to address the board tonight? Line up, please.
Good evening. My name is Riley Bullock. I had an opportunity to go to the Athletics Hall of Fame reception on Saturday. I was fairly disappointed in the whole entire event. I was very disappointed that the superintendent wasn't available to be there, and some of the rest of the school board members. This was the first affair. It was the first reception to honor everyone. Ultimately, after that, I talked to some of the former athletes, and I would like to invite some of you onto our Facebook page that we formed due to the representation and ultimately what they had witnessed. And it's a deep concern because ultimately, at the event, as hard as I work to get something done about honoring the former athletes, the former coaches, and people that has contributed to different athletic programs in Richmond Public Schools, it just didn't set well with me that I was invited, I was told that I was going to be a part of the whole Hall of Fame committee. And then when the whole thing came down, I never got an email. I mean, maybe once or twice after I came to a meeting and mentioned it. But ultimately, there's a lot of things that was missed at that reception. A lot of athletes that should have been on it wasn't on it. I mean, it was a travesty that Thomas Jefferson, Kendrick Warren was one of the greatest basketball players in the history of Richmond Public Schools, and he wasn't even inducted into the Hall of Fame by his high school. One of the greatest basketball players in Richmond Public Schools history, and he wasn't even thought about. And I asked the process because I never understood the process, and I asked it several times. How do you get people honored And no one could give me even when I'm on the committee for Armstrong,
30 seconds.
ultimately, it's no clear-cut process. You just drop a name down and then you just vote it up or down. It's no process. And we need a stronger process if we're gonna have some type of reception like this. And we are forming a group where we are just going to basically solely get a 501c, solely to get money to raise for the athletic task force, and the athletic task force only. So ultimately, I just want y'all to address that accordingly. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Brianna Nomi. My request this evening is that the district provide transparency and data to the public regarding the improvement in instruction that can be attributed to the implementing the teacher performance evaluation system. Each year, we are required to create a SMART goal and use it to guide our instructional practice. These SMART goals are supposed to be data-driven and reflect a level of thought about our students, the learning environment we create, and our teaching. At the end of the year, we are evaluated on whether or not we met our SMART goal, and this in turn serves as our end of the year evaluation. One of the stated primary purposes of the teacher performance evaluation system is to improve the quality of instruction by ensuring accountability for classroom performance and teacher effectiveness. As a reading specialist, success and the quality of my instruction should be measured by the growth my students in kindergarten through 5th grade make in reading. For example, how many levels of reading growth they make in a year, and how they perform on the end of the year PALS assessment. However, it seems that I am only held accountable for how students perform on the SOLs, tests that are only given on one day to represent an entire year of teaching. The majority of my evaluation is based on SOL scores. How is this an accurate reflection of my work all year, including work with grade levels that are not SOL tested? This evaluation system in no way holds the correct individuals accountable for poor student performance. It unfairly portrays highly effective, exemplary teachers as merely proficient. The formula used to evaluate teachers is flawed and does not even celebrate student growth. Aside from the SOLs being a flawed assessment to measure student growth, they contribute to a flawed system of measuring teacher effectiveness. There has to be a better way to evaluate teacher effectiveness as well as student growth. Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Mariah White. This evening I'm going to bring to you my concern on one of your new preschool centers, Murray Scott. I'm not sure that if you know or not, because none of the parents there seem to see anybody from the school, the first day of school. Excuse me. And I have been analyzing this school for the last month, because there has been a month right now since school. There's really no leadership there. You have a person there that's managing the school and trying to manage 2 schools, which is a manager. Then you have someone, when she's not there, that takes over, that has been there for 5 years. Now, I do have a personal investment in there, because I have a child there who has started Head Start. So I am looking for you as a school board, since this was a new school there, just like Martin Luther King, everybody went there that morning, no one went to Murray Scott. The parents didn't have any buses, they just got them last week. I understand that, I'm not going to blame it on the UIC, the bike race, but when the parents had to register between March and June, there shouldn't have been a school classroom number and a bus number given to those parents. We wonder why our parents don't participate. Why? Because we don't come together with our parents. I've seen parents day after day bringing babies to school, 3 and 4 of them, walking miles. Now, the rule was if you was a mile away, you wouldn't receive transportation. But 2 and 3 miles, there should have been some transportation. And this little thing about kiss and go, leave your kid there, you kiss them and go, and then you have people there to pick your child up. They don't even greet your child right. Why would your child want to go to school when no one there, they don't have a name badge or they don't have any of these things? No one here followed up with this school. This school is a new school. This is where my child, I'm going to let you know right now, if there is an investment, I'm looking for a return. And I am demanding, just like I told all parents there, we will have involvement. We will have participation as long as I have a child there. I'm not sure who is in charge of Mary Scott on this board.
30 seconds.
But you will hear from me, you will see from me. And another thing, we're looking here on this board here, I see October as Safe School Month. How can we have a Safe School Month when MLK has a nurse, Maymont has a full-time nurse, Blackway even have a nurse, and they're assessed to a nurse to another school. But Mary Scott doesn't even have a nurse. What is going on with that? Is that safety for our schools? We need to look at our safety for our schools. Don't tell me that a nurse that comes on Wednesday can detect whether your child has pink eye, measles, or whatever. Because let me tell you, that's a lawsuit for itself. Thank you.
Good afternoon, board, representing youth builders and all the providers, therapy treatment. Welcome again, I guess you guys see my face again. But every time you see me come, I love to try to make sure I do my homework and other providers to try to prove our case that.
So, I'm sorry, please state your name for the record.
Reginald Goodwin.
Thank you.
And I always try to prove our cases, let you guys know how unfair this process was and how unfair it is for the parents and for the kids that was involved. My first meeting with Dr. Benton, I came in, I think it was probably the day after we got the notice that the 9 providers that provide for the schools. First meeting I had with Dr. Benton is just him and I. I shared with him some things and what came out, I wish he was here so he can verify. Some things that he told me, quote, I wasn't aware of all of this, Mr. Goodwin. So therefore, it was so strong that we had a second meeting. But the first meeting that he approached me with that, and it's highlighted, it's written, I have all the documents for it, so I want to give it to the board so you guys can right away. The first one was that, the main thing he told me, Mr. Goodwin, your company are in violation for DMAPS, a conflict, because you were sponsoring and you gave monetary gift and supplies for kids, for the basketball program and for teachers. So I was in violation of DMAPS regulation, conflict. Okay? Now, have board to ask you guys something. Have y'all seen the evaluations? Have y'all seen applications? Have y'all seen any ones that was approved? Have anyone seen any ones that was approved? If you haven't, and so we went, when I was here the last time, you guys had a vote. You know, I know how it is. I was kind of disappointed because if you can say, no, you don't want to be visited, because for whatever reason, and you guys sort of be upholding the ethics of the schools, the kids, and the parents, and you guys need to know before you cast a vote. Because these things we know, and I would like for you guys to, I got all the documents, I did a little homework. I requested to see all 9 approved applicants. I have it in my form right there. And you will see 5 out of 9 had donations, sponsors, given monetary gifts, but they was not kicked out of the system like mine was. So when you look at that, so you just imagine yourself, I love to give examples like the education, because we're in education now. If you have a test, and you mark A, and yours was wrong,
and the other people's mark A and theirs was right, when you have a problem with that, you will make sure that way I gotta get the justice that they have. So I love to put it in them terms. So when you see the forms, and then by the way, the 9 that they chose, and they was going on the best application. That's what they tell all about, the best application. But even the 9 that they chose, when you look at it, you'll see why did you choose these 3 to be over all the schools, and some of the other applications that you guys will see was better than the ones they chose for all the schools, was for YCAP, RHA, and Dominion. When you guys look at it and analyze yourself, then you'll see that it was unjust. Because as I told everyone when you get into this work field, I'm not 18, I've been out here for a while. When you do an application, and only you go by the application or resume, it's because when there's no other jobs, no one is doing, it's a vacancy. But when someone is already doing the job, then you have to go more than just about an application. You have to do some research and find out what they're doing in the schools. That's why they didn't ask the principals. That's why they didn't ask CIS, because they had their own motive, their own people who they want to put in these positions. And when you look at the board, I'm asking you guys to, if I can meet with one that said no, and one that said yes, they want to revisit. So we can show you, I got the information, I don't know if I can give it to you all now so you guys can look at it, and you'll see how unfair it was. And they'll say, no, we don't have CIS in all the schools, but you have a principal in all the schools. And then what happened is that they want to knock the principal down. Well, the principal don't know what's going on, then don't have the principal in your schools then.
30 seconds.
If you're going to say the principal don't know what they're doing, and I think that's an insult to the principals. But when you go there, CIS, I'll say it again, was there as an applicant for the Richmond Public School to give all data, all statistics, and everything that they wanted for the kids that we served in those schools. But they didn't use them because they had their own motive. Then if the CIS didn't use it there, then the principal had all the information. That was just the reason why they want to put who they want to put in. So I like to ask anyone, who can I give the applications to? And you can look at it yourself, and I'd love to have a meeting with 2 of y'all. I think I can have a meeting. So I don't know what to do or near this, what I need to do.
Hey, my name is Michael Brott. I'm a citizen here in the city. I guess what's up tonight was just question or concern about communication. Tried to come to the school board meeting last week, checked on the website before coming, making sure where it was, yada yada. Said it was here, well downstairs, came to the meeting, realized, okay, city council meeting down there. No sign, no information as to what was going on. Came up here, crickets up here, nothing happening. Happened to come across somebody who was happened to be leaving. Oh yeah, the meeting's over at okay. Well, that doesn't do a whole lot of good when you're trying to get somewhere, trying to get involved. I know you guys don't want to be sitting around waiting all night like for this stuff to get done with, and I heard comments about that last week. So I guess my concern is just how that information is conveyed to the public. After the fact, it looked like it had been posted to Facebook, but that kind of implies that people should be checking Facebook to assume that things aren't going to be done like they were planned. So not having it on the website and the place you would think to check. Also, my wife does work with RPS, no email, no communication that way. Things that I would just assume would be logical, especially considering that there was a lot of complaint that I heard from you guys with regards to the issue at Armstrong last week, that it only happened at like 4:30, so it was like 2 hours that you guys were expecting updates. As the public trying to be involved and come to the meetings, I'd expect the same sort of update. So that's pretty much it. Thanks. Yeah.
All right, is there anyone else who would like to address the board tonight? Okay, seeing none.
Next item, Mr. Chair, is 5.01, receive for action employer-sponsored hybrid 403B, option and VRS resolution.
Good evening. This is a pretty complicated issue, but I will do my best to describe it as briefly and concisely as I can and clearly. We worked on this impact statement, the budget office, Mr. Westday taking the lead with risk management as well as finance. Basically, the General Assembly has passed legislation allowing school divisions to offer an employer-sponsored hybrid 403B plan voluntary contribution structure. Currently, our voluntary contributions are administered by VRS through a management company that they use called ICMARC. The fiduciary responsibilities rest entirely with VRS and that management company that they contract with on a statewide basis. If we elect to allow this structure, we have to make a cash match contribution as well, and the fiduciary responsibility would reside with us. You, one way or another, have to adopt a resolution indicating whether or not you intend to allow this option or not allow this option by October 30th of this year. It is not an irrevocable decision. You can return to it next year at this time if you decide to go the opposite way or maintain your position. It's our administrative recommendation not to allow this option at the present time because of increased costs, including the possible system modification on our end, reporting and annual disclosure, as well as administrative responsibilities that we don't feel we are presently equipped to handle, such as enforcement of the state legislation as with respect to vesting provisions. We would also have to establish a forfeiture account if employees left employment and they were entitled to a partial or entire refund. We would also have to oversee IRS annual maximums, prepare service annual disclosures with regard to any service fees, restrictions and surrender penalties. We would also have to maintain employee changes to that contribution structure, whereas currently ICMARC administers that and permits employees to change quarterly. It also would create an issue with our current reporting system that VRS utilizes, the VRS Navigator system. These contributions would not be maintained on that system. There is also a potential increase to employees, a cost increase. Likely VRS's negotiated fees with ICMARC are more competitive than we could individually negotiate with a management company of our own. So our recommendation at the present time is to adopt a resolution not to allow employees to direct voluntary contributions to a hybrid 403B plan that we would administer, and that it was attached as attachment 5 in your packet. Are there questions that I might have answered?
That's great.
I'm just wondering how other districts are handling this. Are we still competitive? And second, what the minimum match would be if we opted to do this. I know we don't have the money to do it now, but at a future time.
Well, we have conferred with our neighbors, Hanover, Henrico, Chesterfield, as well as some smaller districts to the south of Richmond. We have not talked with a single district that is going to allow this provision for the very reasons that we're recommending that we not. I am not familiar with the match requirement at the present time, but I could certainly get that information to you. We are required to, of course, maintain our employer contribution through VRS, regardless of whether it's a hybrid employee or a Plan 1 or Plan 2 employee. That percentage that we contribute is the same. But I don't have a figure for you.
Ms. Larson?
Have we talked to REA and gotten any feedback from them on this? We have not. We are actually, our current 4 and 3B voluntary plans, which are always available to all of our employees. We do have a company called Cap Trust that assists us with managing that portfolio of plans, and REA is a part of that. We did not discuss this, to my knowledge, at the last quarterly meeting. I was not present at that meeting, but no, we have not gotten any feedback from REA on this topic.
Okay. And you all agree?
Yes, sir. We need for you to take action. Our recommendation is not to allow it and to adopt the resolution not to allow, which was attached in the file.
You have a question? No. Okay. Yes, we need a motion.
I move that the school board not up to participate in the 403 cash match contribution plan that's been presented as of tonight.
Second. Question.
Okay.
This doesn't preclude us from moving forward with this in the future if conditions change,
You'll have an opportunity to revisit annually.
not at one time.
Correct.
And that's in October.
Yes, ma'am. It should be in October for the upcoming January.
Any other questions, discussion? Madam Clerk?
Ms. Gray, just for clarity, I want to make sure you're okay with the way I got the motion. It is to approve the recommendation of the administration to adopt a resolution not to allow eligible employees to direct hybrid voluntary contributions to an employer-sponsored hybrid 403B retirement plan.
Correct.
Thank you. And the motion was seconded by Dr. Jones. Mr. Sturdivant?
Yes.
Ms. Gray?
Yes.
Mr. Warren?
Yes.
Mrs. Taylor? Dr. Jones?
Yes.
Mrs. McNair?
Yes.
Mrs. Larson?
Yes.
And Mr. Coleman?
Yes.
Motion passes 7 with 1 abstention. The next item is to receive for action a resolution recognizing October as Bullying Prevention Month. That resolution was on board docs for your review.
Yeah, you can read it.
And the resolution reads, whereas school bullying has become an increasingly significant problem in the United States and Virginia, and whereas almost 30% of the youth in the United States are estimated to be involved in bullying each year, either as a bully or as a victim, and whereas an estimated 160,000 students in kindergarten through 12th grade miss school every day due to a fear of being bullied, and whereas bullying can take many forms, including verbal, physical, and most recently in cyberspace, and can happen in many places, on and off school grounds, and whereas it is important for Virginia parents, students, teachers, and school administrators to be aware of bullying and to encourage discussion of the problem as a school community, and whereas the VSBA has developed a model policy on anti-bullying to encourage positive behaviors and to eliminate bullying behaviors, now therefore be it proclaimed that the school board of the city of Richmond joins the Virginia School Boards Association in recognizing the month of October 2015 as the VSBA Bullying Prevention Month, with the intention that the issue of bullying and its prevention be discussed in Virginia schools and classrooms during that time.
Is there a motion?
Second.
The motion was made by Mr. Bourne, seconded by Mr. Sturdivant to approve the proclamation for bullying prevention month. Mr. Sturdivant?
Yes.
Ms. Gray?
Yes.
Mr. Bourne?
Yes.
Mrs. Taylor? Dr. Jones?
Yes.
Mrs. McNair?
Yes.
Mrs. Larson?
Yes.
Mr. Coleman?
Yes.
Motion passes 8-1. The next item is to receive for action a proclamation recognizing October as Safe School Month, which was also on board last year with you. And the proclamation reads, whereas the goal of Richmond Public Schools is to create safe and nurturing schools in which there are increasing acts of cooperation, service, and caring. And whereas the violence many students witness in their communities and the media is mirrored in the inappropriate behavior demonstrated by some young people in our public schools, and the availability of weapons and drugs in the community and in the schools. And whereas the problems of many young people originate prior to and outside their public school experience, and conflicts from the community too frequently are brought into our public schools. And whereas a growing number of young people come to the public schools without the personal values and support systems needed to develop and demonstrate attitudes conducive to academic success and personal responsibility. And whereas the safety and nurturing of our young people are shared responsibilities necessitating a partnership among the public schools, public support agencies, and community resources, that the school board and the superintendent of Richmond Public Schools, along with other community agencies, members interested in our public schools, join together and pledge to work collaboratively to build a public school environment that is safe and conducive to learning, inclusive of the enforcement of strong and consistent disciplinary measures to modify student behavior. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the school board of the city of Richmond does hereby proclaim October 2015 as Safe Schools Month, and encourages all schools and community members to join in the effort to ensure the safety and nurturing of our young people.
So moved.
Any comments?
Motion was made by Mr. Sturman and seconded by Mr. Warren to approve the proclamation recognizing October as Safe Schools Month. Mr. Sturman?
Yes.
Ms. Gray?
Yes.
Mr. Warren?
Yes.
Mrs. Taylor?
Yes.
Dr. Jones?
Yes.
Mrs. McGinnis?
Yes.
Mrs. Larson? Yes. Mr. Coleman?
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0. The next item is 5.04, receive for action and quit claim deed for Summers Hill Elementary School.
Good evening, Mr. Coleman and the board. The purpose of this is back on December 8th of 2012, the board took action to surplus the property. The purpose tonight is to complete that transfer to the city by giving the school board chairman authorization to proceed with the execution of the quitclaim deed.
Any questions? Ms. Epps?
Mr. Krantz, is it on? I don't know. Is it on? Okay. Now it's on. Okay. A related question, if you will, please, with regard to the property at Mill Park. Would it behoove us to do a quick claim deed with the city for that property such that what happens to it will not be the, I guess, the instance that we find with Summer Hill, that we've allowed that building to be vacant and potentially become blight in that community?
Our intent on the Elkhart property is to, in working in conjunction with the city, that we actually demolish that site this school year and begin to do some site improvement work there so that if the council moves forward with providing the construction funds, and if the school board continues with the process of building a new middle school, which that is the location the administration would recommend, that we're ready so that when July 1 of 2016 comes into play, we've already done the demolition, we've done some site work there, and hopefully can finish the construction within that 18-month window that we discussed previously.
Okay, so you just keep us abreast of that
Yes, ma'am.
process. Thank you.
Dr. Jones?
Mr. Cranston, this property is in my district. We talked about it and also, I just want to make sure my understanding is that once we do this, it will clear the way for us to be able to do the pre-K.
Our intent in evaluating both Summerhill and Ruffin Road were the two locations we looked at. Ruffin Road is a better location. There are some issues at Summerhill that make it really cost prohibitive to try to convert that into a pre-K center. We can convert Ruffin Road fairly quickly, relatively inexpensively, and be ready to do that pre-K center south of the rivers we talked about.
And the Summer Hill would go over to the usage of the city, whatever they decide.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Mr. Larson?
Are we gonna get any money from Summer Hill? Are they planning to sell it or surplus it or lease it or? what's
My
the-
understanding is the city has some interest in maybe redeveloping that property, but not from a investor standpoint or profit standpoint, maybe a city services type standpoint. But that, I mean, this completion of that transfer isn't contingent, nor was it, represented to me that they were going to do X, and so in exchange for that, we were doing this. Their actions, they can do anything they want to, but today, it's intended for social services type purposes.
Okay, so there wouldn't be a sale of the
No,
property
ma'am.
that you know of?
At this point in time, no.
Okay. Do you know if we've gotten any funds from any recent sales? And what I'm thinking of specifically is Arlington Road.
At this point in time, the Arlington Road property has been put on hold. The sale of that we were discussing with the potential buyers. It's part of that master plan for that area with the Children's Hospital and just the whole development of that parcel, that whole area. And so that's why at this point in time it's on hold.
Does anyone have any questions? I was making a motion to approve.
Ms. Gray?
Well, I just have one quick comment. Sorry, Mr. Bourne. My comment is just to piggyback on what Ms. Larson said about Arlington Road. I think it would, year after year, we've been criticized for sitting on money and not surplusing that building. So I think it would behoove us to send a letter to City Council and the Mayor's administration requesting that they move that property so that we can receive some of the capital funds back into our budget. And if that was not the intent, it's been hung over our heads every budget cycle. So I'd like to at least have it on the record that we did surplus it and that now they've changed the plan and they're not intending to sell it or whatever the plan is. That, I had pressure from my counterpart on City Council because there was a business that wanted to purchase that building. We got it appraised and appraised again, and we finally were at a point where we were willing to let the property go and reap the funds, and now there's been no movement for months. So I think we do need to be on the record, send a letter, and say what happened. Where's the fund? Where's the funding? So, now you're ready.
No, Ms. Joe has a question. Joe?
Thank you. I guess I'm just a little uncomfortable because we've had so many buildings that have been surplus back to the city, and yet there's been no movement, at least since I've been on this board. I understand for point of clarity that if we are to do a quick deed and surplus it back to the city, then the only way that we'll get possession of it for school use is if a new facility comes to that property.
It doesn't necessarily have to be a new school if that particular parcel, and say that building is still on the site, and there was a need from the school system to be there, then we would have to ask the city to basically transfer it back to the school system. I don't think anything precludes asking that. But I do think the city has some intentions of trying to, vacant buildings attract unwanted visitors. And what happens with school systems, it happens here with our vacant buildings, I've seen it in the other districts. A vacant building is a building that you're just not paying attention to because you got students and those are the buildings that you're dealing with every day. And so they start to fall in disrepair pretty quick. When they fall into disrepair, the cost of bringing that back up live gets to be extremely expensive. Also, when they fall into disrepair, not only is it a blight to the community, but it's also a liability that the school system maintains. So you've got, we have the liability. We also are trying to maintain it. So, we're paying the utility bills. Anytime there's a break-in on that building, we have personnel that respond. So as a district, we're incurring costs for these vacant buildings. And in this particular building, in that facility needs report, that location didn't fit. Now, if that location was a couple miles to the west, we'd be having a different conversation, but it just didn't fit in a strategic location. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, and just as a follow-up, what would that building require? Just overall.
That building has some, let's just say this, it has some substantial environmental issues. The cost of remedying that building is going to be close to $3 to $4 million. So we start getting into, for the number of classrooms, what's available there, and that's just to open. That doesn't start drilling down to converting those classrooms into pre-K related type classrooms. Because our pre-K classrooms are smaller, you're lower to the ground, so you have those expenses. Rough and Road is just, we strategically looked at it, and Rough and Road would be our recommendation to convert it to a pre-K center. We can do that a lot quicker and much more, I hate the word cheaper, but fiscally lower.
And as an absolute last, the 3 to 4 million that the building will require, would that overall be better than putting in 10 to 15 million to bring it up new?
MLK Pre-K Center was a $6 million all-in investment. And honestly, if we were going to do a pre-K center there, I would look hard at maybe the better thing would be to demolish that building and put a pre-K center. And nothing precludes that to happen in Rough and Road. What we have built at MLK, we can duplicate it at Rough and Road. There's other sites that under our facilities report, if that consolidation takes place and we start moving forward with that, there's other sites within the district that could also hold an MLK type site and be better strategically. Where what gets us into, I hate to use the word trouble, but that's the one that comes to mind right now. From an operational standpoint, is when we have students spread throughout the district and we're trying to bring them by buses into points. We're not set up like a GRTC where we can transfer from bus to bus to bus to bus. So we start having those buses go and picking up children. Our buses, excluding the cost of the driver, is $1.23 per mile. And every one of our trips is a round trip. So it gets to be expensive for us to have the buses, number one. Number two, we're slow. We're slower than vans. We're slower than cars. So then it starts taking time that impacts, because we're doing all the tiers, everything. A Rough and strategically is a better, it's not an ideal location, but it's a much better location.
Mr. Bourne, thank you. Before I make a motion, I just want to clarify from my own feeble mind. The building property has already been surplus by the prior school board.
So it was down on December 8th of 2012.
And so this last piece of it is simply what I'll term as a new sort of requirement that the city's put on. So when I served as chair, they wanted a quick claim deed, whereas in the past they did not.
That's correct.
So that's simply what we're doing here.
That's correct.
All right, I move that we adopt the administration's recommendation to authorize the chairman to sign a quick claim deed to the city for the Summer Hill Elementary School building.
Second.
Second, any discussion? Clerk?
Motion is made by Mr. Bourne, seconded by Ms. Gray, to authorize the chairman to sign a quick claim deed for Summer Hill Elementary School. Mr. Sturman?
Yes.
Ms. Gray?
Yes.
Mr. Bourne?
Yes.
Mrs. Taylor?
No.
Mrs. Harris, I'm sorry. Dr. Jones?
Yes.
Mrs. Pinckney?
Yes.
Mrs. Larson?
Yes.
Mr. Coleman?
Yes.
Motion passes 7-1. The next item is 5.05, receive for action revisions to the 2015 salary schedule.
are bringing forth a recommendation to amend your existing 2015-16 salary scale to add middle school coaching supplements, which are currently absent from the unified scale. Middle school athletics has grown over the last several years and has been partially funded by the foundation through MSR. That funding is no longer available for 15-16, and it is an RPS initiative. We recommend that you adopt a supplement scale to promote consistent coaching supplement pay among and between all of the schools. You have the recommended positions as well as the recommended supplement and the impact statement. Can I answer any questions?
Okay, Mr. Chairman, followed by Ms. Elkins and Ms. Taylor.
Does this plan increase or decrease the stipends or the pay that the coaches receive presently?
Dr. Ramsey based her recommended amounts on the average of what the coaches were receiving between the schools because there was some inconsistency. In certain instances, it might be as much as $100 more or less than what the coaches were receiving.
Steps.
For the season. Yes, ma'am.
At the high school level, we have activities directors in all of the schools. What was the rationale behind only having one activities director for our middle schools?
I believe the middle school athletics has operated with one division-wide director that was funded through MSR. The recommendation here is to do one director, but a school activity coordinator at each middle school. And that is at the bottom. There will be 8 of those, whereas there will be one director division-wide. The supplement for the high school activities directors is 13% plus an additional contractual raise. This one is simply 10% added to the supplement.
You said there will be 8 school activity coordinators?
Yes, ma'am. And that's in the bottom section.
Okay.
Coordinator versus a director.
Okay.
Ms. Taylor.
How does the middle school coach salary equate to the high school coach's salary?
They are, of course, less because of the amount of participation and the length of the season. The high school supplements, okay. Basketball is $2,800 for 0 to 5 years of experience. With more than 6, it's $3,500. Cheer is $1,100 to $1,300. Soccer is $1,800 to $2,400. Soccer assistant is $1,200 to $1,600. Track and field is $1,600 to $2,200, as is tennis. And the basketball assistant is $1,600 to $2,200 as well.
And just be minded that at the high school level, they're on the Virginia High School League, so it's different in that the middle schools would not be competing at that level.
What would you say the percentages for participation? Do you have that data?
Yes, ma'am. Dr. Ramsey did provide that to me. Overall, 843 students competed in middle school sports last year, with 80 at Albert Hill, 75 at Denford, 154 at Bouchard, 139 at Brown, 78 at Elkhart, 84 at Franklin Military, 101 at Henderson, 77 at MLK, and 55 at Thompson Middle School.
And how does that compare with the high school?
I don't have the high school participation numbers.
Can you find out what the percentages those specific? The funding that was used originally from the Education Foundation.
Yes, ma'am.
Where did those funds that were initially for middle school coaches transfer to, for what usage?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
Well, I guess I'm saying that the foundation was footing the bill for the most part prior to now. What has stopped them from being able to do so at this point?
I'm not certain of the answer to that. I don't know if there's source of funding in it or if it's our general
Any more discussion?
I just want to put it on the record that I'm not quite comfortable with taking a vote on this when we don't have all the information in its entirety to make an informed decision. And I just want that stated for the record. Thank you.
Ms. Muhammad?
Thank you. Apologize for my tardiness, but what information are we missing? What information? Of course, I'm coming in on the tail end of the conversation, but what information are we missing?
Ms. Taylor has asked for the source of funding from the foundation that funded middle school athletics in prior years and what the high school participation numbers are in high school sports.
And the reason why I'm asking, if I may, the reason why I'm asking is because there's quite a difference between the salaries of those who are coaching at the high school level versus those who are at the middle school level. I'm wondering what the incentive is going to be for middle school coaches if they're preparing our students for the high school level. And it just, at this point, based on the information that received, it doesn't seem equitable to have that disparaging of the difference in income and salaries for the said coaches on both middle school and high school level.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, when you're talking about coaches on the middle school and high school level, you can't describe them in an equitable way. You have to describe them in a fair way.
Right.
And the reason why I believe coaches on the high school level receive a greater pay is because middle school doesn't do the same thing. It's not the same needs. And I understand we have a preparation from one level to the next. But you have to look at hours that are put in. There's a combination of things why coaches on a high school level would get a higher stipend than coaches on the middle school level. Two examples I just gave you. So we can't look at something and say it's equitable. I think we have to look at it in what's fair. What is a fair stipend compared to what's equitable? Because if I'm a coach on a high school level and you're a coach on a middle school level, then you can't say that we're not being treated equitably. You have to look at it being treated fairly in terms of what the stipend should be based on number of students that participate in the program. And I'm not sure if this is exact, but I'm just guessing because of all my years in education. I think that it has to do with programs. You have to look at, and I'm pretty sure Dr. Ramsey can speak to this, but does every middle school have a program, athletic program, comparable to another middle school? So, and if that's what we're missing, I think we should not support the motion because it's something that her department needs to do. I just wanted to hear what the pieces of information were missing. I don't think those pieces of information that is missing should stop people getting a stipend.
Thank you, Ms. Muhammad. Any more discussion? Ms. Larson?
I'm going to be supporting this motion, and it's my understanding that the money from Middle School Renaissance has stopped, and so if there was no funds from the foundation to pay these coaches, and if we didn't continue paying them, then there would be no middle school sports. So I would like this program to continue. I would like our students to have these options on the middle school level, and I'll be supporting this motion.
Any clarity? You get ahead, Dr. Ramsey.
We base the numbers for the salary on the length of the season and the participation level that would come. Like for tennis, their length of season is about a month, and they usually have 4 to 8 players on their team, so that's how we base that. Along with like track and field, which usually has 25 to 30 students. It's 2 events year long versus high school where you have 22 game season. With basketball on the middle school level has 8 games plus the postseason. So there's a vast difference between the two. Plus we only play inter-city. We play amongst each other and we don't play outside the schools unless the school arranges that themselves.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Ms. Taylor?
Just as a point of clarity with Ms. Larson bringing additional information to the board, Middle School Renaissance program Middle School Renaissance is what funded?
Yes, MSR funded the program the last 2 years except for basketball and cheerleading.
Okay. those funds have completely dried out?
Yes, ma'am, the program is no longer in existence.
As of when?
At the end of last year,
So were we aware of this July 1 when the new fiscal budget began?
yes.
Is there any reason why we're just hearing about it now? Okay, I don't recall the discussion about it. Okay, thank you for the clarification.
Okay, Ms. Mohammed.
Yes, just one last thing, which has nothing to do with the topic, but we don't have any business, and since it doesn't have really, not this thing, but since Dr. Ramsey is standing here, I really want to say in front of you that the reception, the Hall of Fame reception on Saturday was wonderful. It was a beautiful reception, and I did not want the evening to go by without acknowledging the work that the committee put in. It was beautiful. They redid that cafeteria. It was just magnificent. And the food was delicious. Thank you, Ms. Coleman. I'm trying to put my plug in because I know I don't have any more time to do it later, but while she's standing here, I just wanted to acknowledge the efforts that the committee did. It was a wonderful program.
Thank you.
So if we can give her a round of applause while she's here.
All right.
Thank you
Okay.
for allowing me.
Any more discussion on this?
Thank you, Ms.
Okay, Madam Clerk.
Motion was made by Mr. Moore and seconded by Ms. Gray to adopt the revisions to the salary schedule. Mr. Sturtevant?
Yes.
Ms. Gray?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mrs. Taylor?
Yes.
Mrs. Harris
I
Mohammed?
have to abstain. I wasn't here.
Dr. Jones?
Yes.
Mrs. Pinckney?
Yes.
Mrs. Larson?
Yes.
Mr. Coleman?
Yes.
Motion passes 8 with 1 abstention. The next item is 5.06, receive for action school improvement plans.
Good evening, all the members of the board, Mr. King. As noted in the past 3 Friday reports, per the Virginia Code VAC 2131-300, all schools that are accredited with warning must develop a school improvement plan that addresses the essential actions from the academic review. And you have had summary documents for each of the schools that outline the essential actions and address some of the strategies that the school will use to become fully accredited. As noted in the Friday report, technical assistance was provided by my staff to support these principals in ensuring the essential actions were addressed. In addition, each school is then required to communicate the information as to their status of their school with parents. That will come later once the VDOE provides the new accreditation ratings for those schools. And finally, if you have any questions regarding any of the school's improvement plans, I'd be happy to discuss those with you. And I also want to thank the principals who developed these plans that are here tonight to, hopefully hear your motion to approve these plans. I would like to thank them for coming here tonight.
Thank you. For all the principals who are here, please stand. Is that a hand?
It is.
Accepts?
Ms. Garland, I took an opportunity to review the school improvement plans we received last fiscal year with these, and I'm somewhat concerned that the language is almost identical in many of the places. Is there an opportunity that, and I'm not sure if the rest of the board would be interested, but I would be interested in getting some substance as to, okay, so what happened last year if it's working, then I can understand that we'll be using it again. But if it's not working, these documents really don't give any substance as to the actions that are going to take place throughout the school year.
Well, I'll just say that for general purposes, the state findings in regards to the academic review were the same across the division. So that's why those essential actions on the first couple pages of the PowerPoints are almost identical, with the exception of high schools, which theirs vary just a tad. So the schools are still working on refining their actions in relation to those findings. Some of the schools did not even get their academic review until spring of last year. So they didn't have their action, well, until the fall, late fall, and they received their actions in the spring. So those schools have just begun. So the only requirement with the state in regard to a school improvement plan is that those essential actions are being addressed. But I'll be happy, if you want to pick a couple schools and come in and speak to me, I'll be happy to walk you through the process.
Fantastic, thank you.
Okay, Ms. Muhammad.
Yes, and I would like to do that as well with you, but I would like to have Ms. Kane available, so I would like to email you, the both of you sometimes, and you all can kind of coordinate. And we sit down, so I have a series of questions, but they don't need to be addressed tonight, okay?
Mr. Palmer?
I just want to.
Is it on this topic, Mr. Palmer?
Yes, it is. I just want to personally thank the principals for coming out tonight. I also want to personally say that I believe in you all. I believe that, again, this is our opportunity to demonstrate that we can turn things in the direction that we all desire to go into. And I believe all of you all are working real hard at trying to make this move forward. And so thank you so much for taking your time to come down here tonight and stand behind your plans. And let's be encouraged. That's my hope today. I've been blessed in the 7th district to get around a few places, and I know that you all believe that this can happen. And so it's up to us, though, to get it done. And we're going to do our best as a board, I know I am, to make sure you guys have the resources you need. But at the end of the day, we got to get it done. Our babies deserve the very best that we can do. And for you all to be here tonight encourages my heart that you chose to say, I'm here because I believe in the plan that I put forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Palmer.
Ms. Taylor.
Thank you. I just want to also say that I'm very appreciative for all that our principals, administrators, and teachers do for this district. I think that SOLs are very taxing, and it takes a tremendous toll on the district as a whole. And I just wanted to let you all know that I will be doing everything in my power to convince my colleagues to consider removing SOLs from our school district as a whole. And I hope that you all will give the input that is needed to make sure that we have assessments in place to make sure that our students will get the quality of learning and education that they so desperately deserve. So thank you again for all that you do, and I look forward to having further discussions about removal of SOLs within the district in the near future. Thank you.
Okay. Is there a motion? Mr. Ray.
I would like to move to accept the recommendation of the administration and move forward with the school improvement plans as presented.
Second.
Move to second. Any more discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk.
Motion was made by Ms. Gray to approve the school improvement plans as presented and seconded by Mr. Sturtevant. Mr. Sturtevant?
Yes.
Ms. Gray? Yes. Mr. Boone?
Yes.
Mrs. Taylor?
Yes.
Mrs. Harris Mohammed?
Yes.
Mrs. Pinheiro?
I'm going to abstain.
Mrs. Larson?
Yes.
Mr. Coleman?
Yes.
Motion passes 7-1. The next item is 5.07, to receive for action recommended changes to implement.
Madam Clerk, we're going to take a 2-minute recess. Let our principal go home and get some rest. Board members, if you can make your way back to our seats. We're doing very good on time at this point. Board members, if we can make it back to our seats, thank you very much. You want to help?
All right now.
Okay, we'd like to reconvene the Monday, October 5th, 2015 board meeting. Madam Clerk.
The next item is 5407, receive action recommending changes to information technology and communication services.
Good evening again. This item, I believe, was discussed with you by Mr. Westbay and Mr. Gardner last week. And the short version is that the recommendation is to eliminate a vacant manager of network communication, which is a grade 19. Regrade 6 employees who have assumed permanent change in responsibilities as a result of the vacant manager position, and eliminate the 5% added duty pay that those individuals received last year. To add a needed junior network engineer position, grade 13. The overall savings to the division would be $26,000.
Okay, colleagues, if you recall, this was discussed with us because it's a personnel matter, and it's not wanting people to be identified. We discussed this close at our last meeting. So, thank you very much. All right, is there a motion?
I move that we adopt the recommendation of administration.
Second.
Any discussion? Still.
I just want to say that I personally, as an individual board member, feel incredibly uncomfortable with moving forward. I was told by Dr. Madden in August that the board will receive salary schedule recommendations for the entire district, and to move forward with changes to the IT and communication services by actually bumping up, I think in most instances it will be from a pay grade of 19 to a pay grade of 20. When we have so many bus drivers, when we have so many teachers that need to be considered as well at the same time, I think it is critical and extremely important and very impactful as it relates to the morale of our staff to be able to consider everyone at the same time. I would find it very unfortunate for us to go ahead and you sit and you say it may only be a $26,000 savings, but those savings could easily be absorbed by additional staff being hired, additional contractors that are needed, and so on and so forth. And I would hate to come to the point where we're considering teachers and the rest of the staff, which I believe Dr. Bennett says now will move from a September analysis to maybe in November, maybe even later than that analysis, and to get to them, and then we say, oh, well, we don't have the money that we thought we would have because we did it here in upper management prior to earlier on. And I know when this board came into office, when we were running for office in 2012, we all said that we wanted things to be structured in a fair, equitable way. And we do not want a top-heavy administration. And it seems more and more with each passing day, I see all this structure being developed in central office and upper management, and I don't see enough consideration being made
for the people who do the dog-eat-dog work. We have staff that make less than $18,000 a year, bus drivers, for example. So how could we consider making a difference? Because bottom line is with $26,000 savings or no, these are still staff and upper management who are going to be moving up on the pay scale before we consider those who deal directly with our students. So that's my input for that.
Thank you, Ms. Dillon. Any more discussion? Madam Clerk.
The motion is made by Mr. Sturtevant, seconded by Dr. Jones to approve the recommended changes to information technology and communication services. Mr. Sturtevant?
Yes.
Ms. Gray?
Yes.
Mr. Bourne?
Yes.
Mrs. Taylor?
No.
Mrs. Harris Mohammed?
Yes.
Dr. Jones?
Yes.
Mrs. McNabb?
Yes.
Mrs. Larson? Mr. Coleman?
Yes.
Ms. Larson, the vote is on the recommended changes.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that.
Yes. Motion passes 8-1. The next item is 5.08, receive for action designation of social workers as attendance officers.
Good evening. In your packet, as well as in your weekly report, you have a brief memo outlining our request for you to designate school social workers as attendance officers. As indicated in your memo, this would be to affirm their current roles and responsibilities to ensure that they could conduct the requisite attendance functions in court, so it would not be a change in their existing duties that are currently fulfilling those roles.
Any questions for Dr. Boyd? All right, is there a motion? Ms. Muhammad?
I move that we accept the administration's recommendation for the designation of social workers as attendance officers as well.
On the second, the discussion. Ms. Evans?
Yes. Dr. Boyd, the fact that we're moving the social workers, what brought about this change for social workers to be attendance officers?
Sure, there was some additional information put forward by the bar, as well as included in DSBA, that our council brought to our attention, not about a school case, but about a community case with a DSS social worker. And it just indicated to us that we wanted to make sure that there was that we weren't operating in any area of gray. Our social workers, their job description currently indicates that they'll support attendance functions. However, we wanted to make sure that with respect to Virginia Code 22.1-258 and School Board Policy 8-2.4, that those social workers were officially designated as attendance officers.
So, just if you will, real quick, the social workers that I've seen have already been involved in the attendance process. So, what change, if any, will there be? For instance, the social workers have sat in on the attendance meetings when our children are missing 5 or more days.
They'll continue to do that.
They'll continue to do that. There'll still be a need for the attendance worker at the school to gather all that information and basically kind of run that meeting for the referrals to the social workers as in the past.
Right, and this piece speaks specifically to practicing of law, and I won't go too far out of my lane. But that deals more with wrong before the court, filing certain petitions, failure to finish, child in need of services, things like that, and I sense the share. So that's what that part speaks specifically to it, and my sidekick is here, Ms. Thompson, to address any legal specific questions that you might have.
Great.
Good evening, board members. Basically why this is put forward is to make it clear that the social workers are acting as attendance officers under the law so that they can file the CHIN's petitions in court, so that they can file the failure to send in court. Nothing of their duties are going to change, but this summer we were notified by the Virginia State Bar as well as by the SBA, as Dr. Boyd said, that there had been an opinion from the Virginia State Bar regarding the unauthorized practice of law, not with a school social worker, but with a DSS social worker that had filed something that they were not permitted by law to file. So, because once they filed it, it became an unauthorized practice of law. We wanted to make sure that the attendance officers were clearly designated as attendance officers so that they could file any documents in court that attendance officers can and are required to file by law. So the change was really just a clarification that was precipitated by the bar opinion which came out this summer.
Follow-up. So prior to this, had our attendants, had our social workers been filing these documents?
Yes, they had been. Yes, they had been.
Okay.
And there was an indication that there had been designated as attendance officers. When we went back and looked, it seems like that had not been done in a long time, so we wanted to make sure that it is clear, because the job description, while it speaks to attendance and attendance-related duties, there was nothing in there that specifically designated them as attendance officers at the time that they were hired, So we wanted to make sure that the designation was clear.
So will this require a change in our policy, or you all have already taken care of whatever changes, I guess, that we need to make sure that we are in compliance as far as with our social workers and this designation you all want now?
No, there shouldn't be a change in the policy. And the only thing that will have to change is their job description will have to be made clear that they are designated as attendance officers. But this doesn't precipitate any change in their job duties. It doesn't participate any change in the policy.
Okay.
As it relates to the social workers, how many social workers would you say would be converting over to assume these additional responsibilities?
They're not technically assuming any additional responsibility. This is what they have always done. This is a clarification, basically, so that if there is any sort of accusation that they do not have this role, we want to clarify that they do have this role. So they're doing what they have essentially always done.
And at the bottom of your memorandum, all the current social workers who work with students who are required to have compulsory attendance are listed there presently at the bottom of the memorandum.
All right, Ms. Grady.
I'm just wondering if we shouldn't list other individuals who have similar attendance duties in one place, as these are the titles that are designated attendance officers, because not just the social workers do those transactions. There are other people within the school district. So should we have, the following titles shall be designated attendance officers?
And so a couple of our staff in the Office of Family and Community Engagement, that is already included in their job descriptions. We just wanted to bring forward the social workers because they're the primary persons who play that role and because it wasn't explicit. But we did include our social workers that are under the Department of Student Services, but also Aspire, Family and Community Engagement, those type of persons who play key roles.
So is there one place within our procedures that list out who we designate as attendance officers, so that if there was any question about who's able to file this paperwork, whatever the paperwork that we're talking about with the courts, that we can reference this one document that lists anybody with that designation?
We can compile something like that for you, but currently one does not exist. The policy just references attendance officers or persons designated, but we can certainly pull that together and ensure that everyone's clear.
Thank you.
Any more discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk.
The motion was made by Ms. Harris Muhammad, seconded by Mr. Sterling, to approve the designation of social workers as attendance officers. Mr. Sterling?
Yes.
Ms. Graham?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mrs. Taylor?
Yes.
Mrs. Harris Mohammed?
Yes.
Dr. Jones?
Yes.
Mrs. Pinckney?
Yes.
Mrs. Morrison?
Yes.
Mr. Coleman?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously. The next item is item 5.09, receive for action human resources actions.
School board members, your human resources actions for tonight include actions for approval, the nomination of 6 employees, the change of contract of 24 employees, and the transfer of 30 employees. Actions for information include the resignation of 1 employee, the retirement of 2 employees, the furlough of 5 employees, the returning from leave of 2 employees, and the rescission of employment of 1 employee. In addition, you received an addendum tonight that has the resignations of 3 additional employees.
All right. So, are there any items we need to discuss or close? Yes, there are. Thank you, Mr. Booker.
The next item is 5.09, receive for action school board travel and district activity request. I only have 1 request, and that was from Mr. Coleman, I'm sorry, to attend the VSBA annual conference.
Who said want to go to the BSB?
He gonna worry about it the whole
I
time.
got to be the one that you guys jokes every time. Okay, Mr. Bourne,
Where's the conference located?
former Virginia capital of Williamsburg.
And how long after you return can you be prepared to receive
2 months later.
Me and Ms. Lewis will try to expedite that as soon as there's a board meeting.
We'll get it done. Right, Mr. Coleman?
That's right, I'm gonna follow my own policy too.
Praise God.
All right, is there a motion?
So
Ms.
moved.
Taylor has a question.
Just as a point of clarity, with the amendments that we made to the travel policy at last month's board meeting, the 28th of September, are we to have 3 weeks notice? Or is it 3 weeks after you've actually taken part in the activity? Is your question about reporting back to the body? As far as getting approval and getting reimbursement for any city?
Oh, okay. The request for travel needs to be within 21 days prior to your intended travel or activity. So that's 2 things. It's either your travel, that's under one policy, and your district activities is under another policy, but both require a 21-day advance submission so that it can get onto the board meeting and the board can consider it. With respect to reimbursements, I believe that is 30 days if I'm not mistaken, and I can once you get, is it 30? Okay, once you get back from a conference or once you get back from, or what, the district activity or what have you, it's a 30-day reimbursement that usually relates to your travel. 30-day reimbursement where you're actually making sure you have all of your receipts that are required by the policy to the clerk so that she can do whatever reconciliation she needs to do before that gets turned in finance.
Okay, I guess my concern would be then that I put in a request for that same conference as the alternate representative for the VSBA. And I'm just wondering how the next board meeting is going to coincide with those changes.
Ms. Taylor, we did receive your request today, and so the next board meeting is not until October 19th, which will give us the time to prepare the paperwork to present at that meeting for the board to approve.
So even that's just like all the.
It's within the, yeah, that's time.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
Hey, is there a motion?
So, I'm moved. Second. The travel request, minimum hard work. No, but don't write that. Don't write that. I move that we accept Mr. Coleman's request to attend the VSBA conference in Williamsburg.
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion? I'm gonna give one opportunity.
To discuss one more time.
Yes, seeing no discussion. Madam Clerk.
The motion was made by Ms. Harris Mohammed, and I heard Ms. Gray second first, to approve board travel for Mr. Coleman to attend the VSBA annual conference. Mr. Surgeon?
Yes.
Ms. Gray?
Yes.
Mr. Bourne?
Yes.
Mrs. Taylor?
Yes.
Mrs. Harris Mohammed?
Yep.
Dr. Jones? Mrs. McNabb?
Yes.
Mrs. Larson?
Yes.
Yes, I will accept.
Motion passes unanimously.
Madam Clerk?
The next item on the agenda, we do not have anything under consent or other informational items, so the next item is to go into closed. Mr. McNabb?
Pursuant to the personnel section 2.2, that 3711A1, and the legal section 2.2, that 3711A7 of the Code of Civil Name, as amended, after that the Board of Supervisors in closed session to discuss respective candidates for appointment and the assignment of salaries, discipline, or revocation of specific public officers for consideration of resources and employee manual 50, and consult with legal counsel regarding litigation concerning subject matter. I need a second.
We need a second on the close,
I need a
please.
second.
Thank you, Ms. Gray. It's been moved by Ms. Harris Mohammed, seconded by Ms. Gray to go into close. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? You are now closed.